Realtor relationships. So Becca and Jim had asked me if I would do this next level tactics training last or 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. And I said, sure, what do you want to talk about? And neither of them were very helpful. They just both said, whatever you want to talk about. So I was thinking about, man, what do I do well that I want to highlight? I think I've done one of these before on Tuesday updates, but I thought, we have a lot of Tuesday update talk. Lauren taught an amazing main stage at our last LO retreat. Her and I are actually teaching a Tuesday update class at the next LO retreat. So I was like, let's go something else. So one of my favorite things to talk about, or the favorite things that in my business is deepening realtor relationships. How many of you guys, there's like 7 of you on here, how many of you by a show of hands feel like your realtors that you work with and you are like on the same level, like you're actual friends? Chris Clock got a few of them. Lindsay's saying, maybe a couple. Vinny's got a couple. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys. I remember when I started in lending. I started at a big blue bank you may have heard of, Chase Bank, and I worked my way up from a personal banker to a loan officer, and they just throw you in and say, "Figure it out, sink or swim," which is pretty awesome. Pretty much zero training. They send you to Arizona to learn how to like run the systems, but you don't even know how to do loans. And I figured it out pretty good. I'm one of those people that if you tell me you have to do something or you're going to fail, I figure out how to do it. So I learned how to do loans on my own pretty good, which has been very good for my career as far as figuring out problem solving, how to make a loan work. Um, but when I was at Chase, I never had a lead problem because Chase Bank is got millions of clients, right? So all I did all day long, this was 2011, 12, 13 and 14. All I did all day long was call past clients that we had closed with Chase that I thought I could lower their rate or payment, or people who had closed long enough ago that they had a ton of equity in their home and we could do a cash out refinance and consolidate debt. And so I called clients and I did pretty good. I think I closed, anywhere from 5 to 7 loans a month at Chase. It was all client, past client driven, never any of my own source business. Very few. I think I probably had 1 or 2 friends or family that did a loan with me in the few years that I was at Chase doing home loans. And then I think I built one realtor relationship. It was the realtor that helped me buy my house, and he sent me the only referral that I ever got when I was at Chase. And I think I closed 1 or 2 with him while I was there, which is not a lot, but things were fine. I was making good money. I was closing 4, 5, 6 loans a month. I was always in the top 5 in my little area for Chase and getting rah-rahs and all that stuff. And then something happened. My wife and I um, got pregnant with our first baby, and unfortunately, we lost that baby. Um, and I'll never forget, we went through that season together, and it was really rough. More rough for her than me because the moms always have that more of an attachment because it was a life in their body. And we lived in the Portland metro area. We lived in Vancouver, Washington, but it's the Portland metro area at the time, which was an hour and a half for many of our family or friends. We had moved there because we were like, we got to get out of our town and live in the big city, because that's what you do when you grow up in a small town, is you want to get out of a small town into a big city. And so we had a house down there. We had limited amount of friends who were around our age, but we're all in these different seasons of life. They weren't ready. They weren't having kids yet. And we decided we wanted to start a family. And then that happened. So we made some hard choices, but ultimately decided, as part of partly as a result of that, not having, our family supported us the best they could from far away, but not having the support, we thought, man, this is how it feels right now after that incident. How is it going to be when we have babies? When we actually, assuming we can have babies, how is it going to be? We don't have any support. We don't have the structure that we grew up with. And so we made the really hard decision to move home, to move back to the hometown or home area we grew up in. And that was in 2014. So I quit my Chase Bank job and got a job at a local bank here, where we actually brokered loans. and it was a small bank. They still broker loans there. And so I started working for this bank called Security State Bank, and I brokered loans. What I quickly realized working for a new bank was that I had no business. I knew how to do loans, but I didn't have any leads. I didn't have any clients. I didn't have any realtor partners at all. So it took me a couple months, of figuring that out. But I realized, oh crap, I have no source of income. Working at a bank that's the largest bank in the world, or one of the top three banks in the world at Chase Bank, you have an income regardless if you know any realtors, because there's just business there. Now you go through seasonal ups and downs depending on the market. It's way more market driven job than say ours. But there's always a base level of loans that you can do there. Working at Security State, that's was in one county, and I was one of two loan officers for the whole company, and they didn't have the best reputation either for closing loans, so no realtor was super keen on referring. It was rough. So for the first 6 months, I had to really dig in and grind. And when new loan officers ask me, how did you get to where you're at now? I always tell them, well, in the beginning, I did everything. They're like, oh, should we go to should we go to a networking event, or should I schedule coffees, or should I go to do pop bys at offices, or should I do call 40 realtors on a Monday, or should I was like, oh, it wasn't or, it was and. I did all of that. I went to every event. I went to the young professionals. I went to the realtor events. I went to open houses. I went to brokers opens. I worked on Saturdays. I brought my family to open houses. I did Chamber of Commerce events. I did everything. I called title companies, had them introduce me to every single thing you can think to connect with realtors I did. Because I learned early on that was the lifeblood of our business, was realtor referrals. Um, when I came to Summit, it was 2016, and I'll never forget it. It was a few years here. The first year, and I'll kind of tell you my story in production and stuff like that too. But when I came to Summit, the best year I'd ever had, I think I closed about 40 loans, which is not a bad production, right? But the year I came to Summit, I closed 45 loans. Um, the best income year I'd ever had was $80,000. And the first year I came to Summit, I came in March, so I only worked 9 or 8.5 months at Summit. And my first year combined income with my old job at Summit was 110,000. And I just thought, wow, this is the greatest thing ever. And if none of you guys have ever worked for a bank before working for a mortgage company, you won't get this. But working for a bank versus a mortgage company, there's no comparison. Like the deals that we can get done, the underwriting, professional, how our underwriters can look through problem solving and all that to get an approval is nothing compared. I mean, the silliest stuff that you could ever imagine would get called at a bank. So fast forward, I kept doing that same stuff, and getting on, calling realtors, meeting with realtors, going to every event for years, until I finally narrowed it down to the few things that I do now, which are a little bit more. I have 4 kids now, so I don't have time to do everything and be everything to everyone. But I narrowed it down to the time spent is what I do now is more efficient than doing everything. So at Summit Funding, I made that 109,000 my first year. That was 2016. In 2017, I actually jumped from 109 to 210,000. I only say this, guys, just so you understand my production. That was like 75 loans. Then 2018, if you guys will remember, in that business, 2018 was a weird year. Uh, it was a high interest rate year. We went into the fives. In fact, I did some loans in the high fives, which was unheard of at that. My whole career, I had never done loans in the fives at that point, because it started when I started. And so I had a flat year that year, made about the same amount of money. I think I made 190,000 that year. And that was in 2018. 2019, I shot up and did 350,000. 2020 and 2021. I'll leave out my income, but it was stupid. You guys kind of understand that those were ridiculous years. I closed 216 loans in 2020 and 230 loans in 2021. So dumb, crazy stuff. Then 22 was a great year still, made 600. And 23 was a little rougher, but I still made, I think, about $380,000 last year. So I say all that just so you guys understand where my journey has taken me, and so you understand that I have hopefully I'm a little bit validated and you guys can listen to me talk about tactics. But one of the biggest things that, and the first thing I want to talk about is I think in order to be successful, really successful, you have to find realtors who are your people. Does that make sense to everyone? So in the beginning, I worked with this. Okay. So I worked with her for years, and she was actually, I remember because I totaled up one year, I think it was 2018, maybe 2019. She was my number one referring realtor. She sent me 11 closed deals in one year, which is like what we would consider a whale account, right? A big whale account. But every deal we had, every event that she attended that I was at, every open house that we co-hosted, everything, I always just felt like that I'm having to fake like I like her to get this business. And I'm not saying there's not a season for that when you're growing, but it will burn you out. It will burn you out. On the other side, I have this other realtor named Leslie. Leslie is she was the first real high decent producing realtor that trusted me and sent me deals. And it was 2016 when I came to Summit because she did not like the bank I worked at. Like I had built a relationship with her when I was at my last bank, but she had some bad experiences, so she was like, I can't really trust my deals with you there. So when I came to Summit, she goes, okay, you did it. You're going out on your own. You're commission only now. I trust you. Let's do this. And she sent me my first couple deals. And this is 2016. And in my market, 2016, our average sales price was about $150,000, $160,000. So you're talking, I think I did 8 or 10 deals with her that first year, but volume was way lower. But she's the first realtor, and this is so when I on my so number one, find your people. Number two, or number 1A, if you're writing notes, is find your people that has a big mouth. Because quickly, what I realized about Leslie was that she was not only a good realtor partner for me, but she was a blabbermouth in a good way. And she sung my praises everywhere she went. And she told everyone in her office how awesome I was. And she told all of the clients that she referred to me that I'm the best and that she only works with me. And the referrals I got from her never shopped ever because she did a really good job building rapport. And and when the client got referred from her to me, it was like I was meeting someone that I was already friends with, if that makes sense. So find a big mouth person who is your person. That's my 1A. Now I want to go back. I asked some of the best producers in our company what they had for tactics. So Lauren Lavasser and Justin St. Clair, and they're both studs from my branch. So I said, hey, give me some topics here to talk about. And some of the things that they said were awesome little gold nuggets. And so my number 2 point is going to be in reverse, and it's how to find these people, right? How to find these people. So one of the questions that they both, or one of the topics that they both brought up kind of separately, it's kind of funny that they said that, is find out and know their why. Mary Frink, what's your why? You have to unmute yourself.
How long have I been doing this? My why right now is just to continue to earn a living so I can retire hopefully in 5 years.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen. I want you to stay around longer than that. What's your ultimate why? If someone asked you like, hey, why do you do loans? Or Why do you do
Right,
anything?
right. Let's be transparent. Like my real why is to help people realize that they really can buy a house, like and show them how to do it, how to work on a budget, how to make things happen for people. Because we all know that there's a lot of security and stability when you own your own home. And so my why is being able to show people how to do that and make them believe in themselves that they can really do it.
Right. And that's a why, guys. So ask your realtors, what is their why? And I think that when you do that, when you have this conversation with your realtors and you ask them their why, that's going to build that deep rapport and help you find your person or your people. Make it about them. Find out what their why is, cater to that why. Sometimes in different seasons, like I know Leslie, for example, one of my best realtor, Leslie, her why in certain seasons has been because I want to make money. Leslie's been You guys are all going to meet her. This is awesome because this is her real name too. I should have used a fake name, but she's going to be at the Ella retreat. So you guys can all say hi to her and say you've heard really great things about her when we're in Sacramento. But her why in certain seasons has been to make money because she was a single mom. She's been divorced a few times and she has three kids. Um, Actually, like an almost like an adopted fourth. And so she was a single mom for a lot of her time, and she talks about her story is, she got into the real estate business right in like 2005, 2006. So right as the market was high, and then she crashed out and she had to work another job, and she worked for her family painting company to make ends meet. And then when the market picked back up ever since like probably 2015, 16, she's never obviously had to get another job. She's a top producing realtor in my market, but she grinds. And the reason why is because she never wants to be in a position where she's not able to provide. She's the main provider for her family. Now she's married and her husband has a job and they do fine, but um, that's her why. Her why in different seasons has been so I can make money, so I can make a lot of money, so I can afford nice things, so I can do whatever I want and not be reliant on somebody else. I have other realtors who are more at the legacy end of their careers. Like I have a good realtor partner named Greg Lund who owns a Century 21 office. He's made a ton of money. He's been doing real estate for probably 30 years. He owns an office. If I asked him his why in the beginning of his career is probably to make a ton of money and acquire a bunch of things and property and have a nice life for his family. But if you ask him his why now, I would assume, I mean, based off of knowing him really well, that his why is so that he can help his agents do the same thing that he did. He passes up deal. I see all the time on his listings, you'll see another agent that's co-listed with him. You know what I mean? I know new agents in his office that have deals because of Greg referred that to me. So his why has changed. So his why is legacy. Um, there's all sorts of whys, but find out your realtor's why and go deep on that and figure out how you can cater to that. Another thing that we talked about was cast a wide net. So guys, in this process, especially in this market, what I've learned, the biggest thing in 2024 that I've learned is that the I back in the day, I mean, I'm sure the OGs on this call can agree to this. Back in the day, you could have like five really good realtors and like 10 more pretty decent relationships where you did a few deals a year with them, and you made a lot of money. I mean, you could close, uh, 6 to 15 deals with a handful of agents that you were in really tight relationship that were high producers, and then you could close 2 to 3 deals with 10 or 15 agents, and then you got onesie twosie agents that would send you one, two deals a year. And I mean, you could close, I mean, that's what I did for a long time. I mean, I closed 100 loans, 150 loans, 200 loans doing that. But when this market shifted and changed in the last basically 12 to 18 months, what I realized is that I had a handful of really good realtors that I was in tight relationship. I had probably three that were still producing, but the ones that were in that 3 to 4 range a year, those guys that were doing, 15 buy sides a year or 12 buy sides a year, in the last 12 to 18 months, they were only doing 5 buy sides a year or 4 buy sides a year or 1 buy side a year. And so my net wasn't wide enough. I had not cast a wide enough net to where I could get enough business. And I had to pretty much rebuild my business this year. It's been a very challenging year, but even my top producers, even my people like Leslie and I have a Heather and Tucker and those guys, they don't they haven't done as much business. And they're doing whatever they can to get a deal. And when you're not as busy as a realtor, it's actually kind of harder to refer your preferred lender because you're taking whatever you can take. You don't want to piss a client off by saying, "Hey, I don't work with USAA. Hey, I don't work with Rocket Mortgage. So you need to meet with my preferred lender." When we're really, really busy, when realtors are really busy, that's easy for them. They're like, "Hey, listen, the market's crazy busy. No one's going to accept an offer from USAA. You're going to be in last place on every deal. It's going to come down to price only, so you won't be able to get a good deal. So go talk to Jacek, and Jacek will, he's the preferred lender for most agents in our county. If you get a pre-approval from him, we know it's gold, and go talk to him." And then price comes into play, and then all the other things that we hate come into play because we're not getting great referrals, because there's fewer referrals, because these agents are holding on to any deal that they can hold on to, right? So cast a wide net. So that looks like this. In coaching this year, Jim has made me create a list of 500 realtors that I market to. So you can reach out to, I don't want to just bury Rebecca with work, but you can reach out to somebody, and I think it's like my MTA Go or something like that. But we used that and we searched all the counties in my county and all the surrounding counties in Washington and came up with a list of 500 realtors who did at least 6 buy sides in the last 12 months. And we imported that into Jungo, and they get my videos, they get our monthly lunch and learns, they get all that stuff, right? Um, so cast a wide net. One thing that I struggle with, guys, that I struggle with LOs is I don't think a lot of you work that hard. And I include myself. A lot of us don't work that hard. I've found seasons where I don't as well. But do you feel like you're giving it your all? One of the things, I was listening to a podcast, and I can't remember who it was. It was an Ed Milet podcast, but I can't remember who was interviewing. But he talked about a success tax. There's a tax to success, and it's grinding. It's it's the late nights sometimes. It's the early morning sometimes. There's a tax, and it's our time, right, to success. So really put your nose to the grindstone and figure out what you have to do to build this realtor database. Um, let's see. Oh, another tactic I had written down. Gifting. Do you guys have a gifting program? Raise your hands if you have a gifting program. Michael's, I can only see like 7 of you on this, so there could be more of you raising your hands, but Michael's the only one I saw raise his hand. Chris Clock, you don't have a gifting program? That's wild.
I did at one point and it fell off, just being honest.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay. So I have a gifting program, guys. One of the biggest successes is I have a calendar. I had my team do this for me, and if you don't have a team, you got to do it yourself. Just do it on a Saturday. Go through your top realtors. So I have my list right here. They say 40 realtors. I have 50 on here, and then this is another tactic for your realtors, by the way, if you guys want to learn from the School of Jacek. This is a living, breathing document. You always have your realtors that you're adding in and out. Now, if you only have 40 on that, that's limits to you. If you don't want to call, in my opinion, you don't want to call the same 40 realtors every single week. I think that's crazy town. I think that we used to talk about doing that all the time, but I think that you should call 20 to 30. You can call more if you want, but please don't call them every single week. You don't have, I mean, unless you have deals together, you don't have a reason. Very, 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 not very often do you have a reason to talk to them every single week. And then this is also another tactic. So your realtors that you're thinking about adding to your list, or maybe the new realtors that are new to the business, but you think that will be successful, I throw them on a little separate list. And this one I take people in and out of all the time if they're not producing or if I don't fit with them or whatever it is. But when as far as gifting goes, I went through every single realtor on my list, and I went through Facebook and I found every single birthday. And the ones that didn't have Facebook birthdays or whatever it was, I called them and asked them, "What's your birthday?" So I have a database of all of their birthdays and anniversaries if they're married. Then I had my team, I gave that list to my team and I said, put it in our calendar. So it's just on our Outlook calendar as a recurring event every single year, right? So now I have this fancy dancy basket with thank you cards and birthday cards. These are all blank birthday cards with an envelope and everything. So every single week, I look at the next week's calendar and I see anybody who has a birthday or an anniversary coming up. And at a minimum, I will write them a handwritten card and send them either a birthday card, or if it's an anniversary, it's just an, happy anniversary, I wish you well. And then I call them on their birthday also. It's a simple program. You could probably get a lot more in depth, and I'm sure Jungo has some sort of system that you can use to input all information to automate it, like our clients that get the birthday emails from us. But what I found is if you handwrite, even literally, guys, even if this is a happy birthday, Chris, I hope you have the best day, and I hope that this year is the best year of your life. I would love to get together for coffee. Signed, Jacek. Even a 3 sentence birthday card, handwritten, and you send it in the mail and they get it. I get phone calls from that all the time. How many of you guys enjoy receiving thank you cards or birthday cards if they're handwritten? How many of you guys get automated birthday cards from your dentist? Even my title company. I have 2 title companies. I'm the largest lender in my county, and one of my title companies gives me a generic card that says "Happy Birthday." It's a generic just birthday card, and then everybody in the office just signs it. And then the few people in the office that I'm kind of tight with, they'll write like a little note. But to me, that's the lamest thing ever. I mean, I don't mind the little note, people that write the little note, but I'm the biggest lender in my area. And you're telling me that the title company manager can't write me a handwritten birthday card and say, "Jason, we're so thankful for your business." Every year I get that and I just look at it and be like, this is basically like a quarter step up from my dentist that sends me an automated, birthday card every single year. I don't mind automation, but for sure, a handwritten birthday card and a handwritten thank you cards mean a ton. And it takes you almost no time. I can write a birthday card for Chris Clock right now and it would take me 15 seconds to write it. And then I hand it to my team and say, find his address and address it and throw it in the mail. And you might get a coffee card with it. Obviously you guys don't have a Fiddler's coffee in your area, but you know what I mean? So that's another tactic is have a birthday program. You should have a special birthday program for your top realtors, by the way, too. So everyone gets a birthday card, but my top realtors, like Leslie Myers this year, got a really nice bottle of Cabernet from Napa that I had in my private, at my house, and I brought it to her, asked her to go to lunch, bought her lunch, and gave her a nice bottle of cab. And guess what? On her birthday and her husband's anniversary are pretty close. They're like maybe 2 or 3 weeks apart. So on their anniversary, they popped that bottle of wine and drank it. And I got a text with a picture from her husband that said, "Thank you so much for this bottle of wine. It means a ton to me." So you know that she's my people, right? We are tight. She's not referring to anybody else. So hey, it's 12:35. I want to open this up for questions, and then maybe we can be done early. So I'll everyone or anybody who has a question, unmute yourself. I can't see everybody, so if I guess just speak up if you have a question.
Hey, Jason, I got a question for you. You had mentioned you got that list, that realtor list for 6+ closings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And added it into your Jungo database.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we have to, or what's the policy or procedure on getting permission to do that? Because I'm assuming you didn't talk to all 500 of those agents and say, "Hey, I'm going to start marketing to you," right? Are we allowed to just do that? is there like regulations to like that we can get in trouble for that? Because I know when I do bomb videos, right? You can get turned off if like you solicit to somebody that doesn't give you that an explicit like permission.
Michael, honestly, I've never worried about that or thought about that in my entire life. I assume that I mean, they can opt out of the emails from Jungo, but I think Jungo itself has a do not call list associated with it. So if someone's on the do not call list, that's the only way that you can get in trouble. Do not call, do not email. But I've never heard of a realtor being on a do not email list. I mean, they have to receive emails from tons and tons of people. Um, but I don't know. That's not I couldn't answer that question for you. I don't know the answer.
Gotcha. I was just curious because I know I had thrown some stuff into Bomb and did that, and like one of the realtors, I mean I haven't worked with them in years, right? But they like flagged it to not market to them, and like account got shut down, and I had to get a re-up like opened again.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, it was like a weird thing, but I was just curious if like that rule applied in that with like Jungo, or if we could just, get that list, build it out, throw it in there, and then just start marketing,
So
right?
I've been doing it for a couple months now, and I've never had anybody complain about it. The people who want to opt out, they opt out. I feel like it's just you just do that, and then yeah, I mean
Yeah.
if someone's on a do not call list, it'd be weird because we're emailing their business emails. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
their personal. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Okay. No, just curious.
yep. Anybody else have a question? I'm hoping.
I have a question. You were talking about putting together that 500 realtor list from, was it MTI Go or something like that? Can
I
you
think it's
repeat
I
that?
think it's I think it's my MTA go MTA. Rebecca, are you on this call still?
Yeah, so it's my MTA.
Okay.
And
There we
if
go.
you get an account, you should be able to look up realtors based on the county. So I was able to do this for Jacek because he's part of Jim's coaching group, so I helped him out with it. But if you do need help showing you the steps on how to do it, I'd be happy to show you. Just reach out to me.
Okay.
Don't bombard her though, everybody, please.
Thank you.
She's an LP1 also. So she's got a full list of stuff to deal with. But anyhow, yeah, that was how we built the list out. But that, yeah, as far as casting a wide net, that's what I would do. MMI works to look people up, and that's what I was using, but there's no way to export MMI into Jungo. So I had to find a different way to look numbers up to where I could export it to Excel and then put it into Jungo. Chris Clock asked me a question.
When you say your gifting program, I think I was confused because I got a gifting where I'll do the do you just have a specific you're just talking realtor specific,
Yes.
right? Okay. I hadn't heard it referred to a gifting program like that. I think that was my confusion.
I
Yeah,
have a
I got it.
client gifting program as well. That's a
I got
lot
that.
less costly.
So I just have my logo and I put some birthday candles on it and they send it out.
Do you handwrite them?
But yep. But I don't do, but I haven't done, I need to do gifts, specific gifts. They're just rolled in. The agents are rolled in just, through Jungo. I get a list. I remember who people are and I highlight them and end up sending them out, but that's not good enough. I can be better with the specific, like the, $900 bottle of Chardonnay that you gave.
It was like $100 bottle of, or a $90 bottle
I'm not
of
bougie
Cat.
like you. I don't know. I don't know.
Shut up. Anyways, seriously though, what's our number one job? Like, what's the most profitable thing we can do with your time?
Prospecting.
Sales producing activities.
Jonas, you said prospect, right? I heard your voice. I can't
Yes,
see.
sir. Prospecting.
Okay, what's your goal in prospecting?
I want to get leads.
How do you get a lead?
So either establish a relationship with a realtor that will pay off a long way over time, or attack my database looking for current or past customer referrals.
How do you get a realtor to send you a lead?
They have to know me and trust me and understand my business because they're not going to do it dry.
How are they gonna know, like, and trust you?
I need to develop and spend time building that relationship with them.
What's the best way to build relationship with them and spend time with them?
Get in front of them. Go see
There
them.
we go. Sorry, that took me a long time to get there.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out where you're going. Yes, sir. I need to
Yeah.
be around them.
In front of them. Now, gifting, back to Chris, gifting and whatnot for birthdays is the ultimate excuse to get in front of a realtor. Like, I have never had a realtor that has been like, no, thank you. When I've been like, hey, it's your birthday. I want to take you out for lunch or drinks or whatever, and I've got a gift for you. Can we please meet up? Now, I'm not sending a bottle of wine to every single realtor on my 500 database, just so we're clear, guys. I'm not even sending a gift to every single realtor on the 500 database. But of my 500 database, I have my top 50 here. And of my top 50, I have my favorite, 10 to 20 realtors. And I look at that calendar every single day. I'm looking at my Outlook calendar for the next week. And so it's a reason to call. We always struggle with what are we calling for? Why are we calling realtors? Well, there's one of your weeks or your months, or maybe 2 times, because you can call them to schedule an appointment, then you can call them on their birthday and wish them happy birthday. But ultimately, it's a fun way to get in front of a realtor, and the best way to get in front of a realtor is a break bread, in my opinion, because when you're stuffing your face or you're having some cocktails, it's the most vulnerable anybody will ever be. So Chris Clock, I love the cards. They're awesome. Definitely for all of your clients, send those cards out, handwritten note. But for realtors, hand deliver. Hand deliver a handwritten card and meet them with a gift. And that's not always a bottle of wine. I mean, I got a realtor that is a sports fan, and I picked his sports team that he liked, and I bought him a pair of $8 socks with the Seattle Seahawks socks, and brought them to the meeting, and had it wasn't expensive. It was a pair of socks, but it's fun. He liked it. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a 6-pack of beer. Sometimes it's a pair of socks. Sometimes it's a t-shirt or a hat. Sometimes just tickle their fancy, figure it out. You can figure it out pretty easily on social media what they like. Cater to that.
Yes, Poppy.
Jason, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So there are a lot of degrees of all the way to clock down to the person that's starting. For those of us that are just trying to get started, or in my case, started over, Jason, what would be the three most important things you would tell us to go out and do right now? Especially when building relationships, what should we be focused on?
Focus on getting 2 break breads per week with realtors, if not more. 2+ break breads with realtors. Realtor office pop buys. And I think the leverage events, happy hours and lunch and learns.
Okay.
I didn't do lunch and learns for a really long time. In fact, my lunch and learns are basically our national lunch and learn, but I do them in person. And they're amazing because the realtors love them. They take home tons of tactics, and it's an hour of sitting at a table discussing business and personal life with, anywhere, for me, it's like anywhere from 4 to 15 realtors, depending on the lunch and learn. One of the things I had written down, which is kind of funny, and I was going to bring this up as part of my story, is I remember when I went to my first leaders club, and I'm 37, so I'm not like super young, but I'm still kind of young. And so a lot of people are like, oh yeah, he's a young guy. And I remember Todd forever would be like, man, you're just so impressive. You're just so young and just killing it and all this stuff. And I laugh because it took me, until I quote unquote made the amount of money that I thought was whatever that number was. For me, it was over 150,000. It was making more than my dad made in my brain and whatever. But it took me 7 years of mortgage to be able to do that. And so you look at people like Chris Clock, and this is how I had you written down in my notes here. Chris Clock he took off in 2 years? Basically your second year, Chris, you were blown up. You're like what, 3 or 4 years in the business right now? 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5 years, and he's blown up. So he has a very specific skill set that we don't have. I don't have the same skill set that Chris Clock has. And in some ways, he's much better loan officer than I am, or marketer than I am. But what I would say is find your own pace. And I was a 7-year overnight success.
I fully disagree with that, Jacek. I started at Summit, you started at Chase. That's the difference.
Well, that's a difference, but yeah, there's a whole lot of differences. But I think one of the things, Chris, is that you are better at execution than I am. And I think that some of us are on this call, there's going to be a range of people with levels of execution. And you were always very like, you get told to do something and you do it. And I was too smart. You know what I mean? I didn't listen.
I'm definitely not too smart.
That's why you're successful. That's why you're so successful. You just shut up and listen and do it. No, that wasn't a dig. I'm saying like you're just better at executing. You're better at getting out of your own way. And I have a tendency to overthink things and figure out my own way to do things, which is not always the best way. So execute and get out of your own way. Someone else ask a question. I don't know a bunch of you on here. I don't think I know Lenore. Is it Lenore? Where are you at, Lenore?
Of the Boston team.
I
I'm
didn't know
south of
we had a
Boston.
Boston team. Isn't that funny? I had no clue.
Surprise! I've been here for all of 4 months.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
What's your superpower? How do you go deep with realtors?
So I came from a bank and totally resonated with your story coming from Chase because I haven't gone deep with real estate agents. And so that's what I'm in the practice of now doing. So it's scheduling all those face-to-face appointments and doing that and trying to expand on those relationships. So how you started today was like my story. I was successful at bank, came over here, haven't looked back. For those who haven't worked at a bank, this is so much better. But it's definitely different because I had I get a lot of past client referrals. So it's easy for me to market with them because of that relationship building. But I didn't have to concentrate on the real estate agents. And so now the effort is, okay, maintaining the past client relationships, but building the real estate agent relationships. So I'm also trying to create the 500 realtors to go wide and calling on them and setting up coffees. And I have 3 set up so far for next week and continue to
Nice.
work on that.
Congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Melanie, what's your superpower?
Well, I'm not sure right now. That's the problem, I think. I the majority of my business has always come from realtors, and I haven't tapped into my past client database, and so that's what I'm actually working on right now.
Cool. Cool. Are your realtors just not producing right now? Is that what your struggle is and why you're moving over to database?
Austin's really having a hard time. Property values have gone down every quarter since the fourth quarter of 2022. We've got like 12,000 homes on the market, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
We just don't have any buyers.
That's the opposite.
I mean, I have a lot of people that I've pre-approved. I just think they're all waiting for the election.
Yeah. Nope. You're right. That's I think that's a common theme throughout the country right now.
Yeah.
Got to get more. That's the casting a wider net part because, I remember last year, I'll tell you guys another story. Last year, one of my best friends, he owns an all-state insurance agency here, right next door to me, actually. A good business partner of mine. February 9th of 2023, his wife committed suicide. And they had 3 kids, and it really wrecked him, and it wrecked me. We're really close friends, and it threw my whole year off this last year. 2023 was a heck of a year for mortgage, and I was thrown off track bad. At first it started with me trying to help him, and then it became more of me commiserating with him, and it was about December of last year I realized like I had like almost no leads in December and November, and I still had a good year last year, which is wild throughout all of that. I think we closed like 100 loans last year on my team. It's just I'm the only loan officer on my team. So when I say we, I mean me and my LP1. But I remember thinking, looking back at the year, thinking, what the heck, man, I have taken my foot completely off the gas. And even in December, it hadn't hit me yet because we were still closing loans, how much that was going to affect me. And this 2024 has been the fruit of that. It's been a really rough year for me as far as closings go. I don't know where I'm at, right? I honestly couldn't tell you how many loans I've done, but I've had 3 months this year where I've closed 2 loans, and I'm a next level coach, and I've been at Leaders Club every year since 2019. I was not on track for Leaders Club. I was not on track to close, 20 million this year. I think which is I'm not saying that that's a bad year, but for me, it was not a good year. And what that taught me was even tough times and everything that happens in life, if you want to be successful, you have to compartmentalize things, and you have to be able to work when you're at work. And if you need time off, take time off. But don't let it bleed into your everyday life and everyday work, because it ruined my beginning of this year, and actually maybe the first half of this year. And I really started turning it back on this year, probably like June or July, and leads started coming in July and August. And now the closings are back. So this month, October, will be my best month, probably in the last 2 years. I have 20 on the books for this month. So we'll see how that goes at the end of this month, because as you guys know, 20 can turn into 14 really quickly if, shit hits the proverbial fan, if you will, on some of these deals. But I have 14 purchase deals in that 20. So it's not like a bunch of refis. I mean, there's some refis in there, but it's not a bunch of refis. So hopefully we'll be able to hang on to, at least like 18 of them, 17 or 18 of them. Lindsay, ask a question. We have another 8 minutes.
Can you share that top 50 sheet with the rest of us?
Yeah, I can do that. It's an Excel spreadsheet, so it's pretty archaic in my way, but it's just how my team and I put it together. But I'll go through it. I think I have a blank one actually, so I think I can just share it with everybody. I'll send it to Rebecca and have her send it out to all the next level team. And on here too, like there's slots, because over the years I've had to do different homework where it's like you can go through and put like how many deals they did in 2023 and then how many they did with us. There's columns for all that. So I have a name, birthday, phone number, anniversary, email address, whether I've collected an all about you form, which I must have went through and deleted them all, because I have no all about you forms, but I know I have all about you forms for them. And by the way, an all about you form is a good way to deepen realtor relationships. If you guys don't know what that is, we have plenty of copies in Next Level Coaching. It's basically a questionnaire to ask them, what's their name, date of birth, anniversary, pets' names, kids' birthdays, favorite restaurant, favorite chocolate, favorite, all the things, right? So it's an all about you form. So you can use that every time you're looking at their birthday or whatever to gift them, to reference what they like. So use an all about you form. But yeah, whether I've collected an all about you form is on here. I think at one point when I lost a bunch of teammates, I went through and deleted that because I wanted to go back and redo all about you forms for my top 50. I just haven't done them yet. I have a bunch of old ones, but I probably am due up to redo those. So I'll share that with Rebecca.
Thank you. And another question. So you said that list of 50 is always changing, right? Depending on how many they send you or not. How do you keep your calendar from getting mucked up with if you take people off and put new people on with the birthdays and whatnot? Do you just say, oh, I'm taking Jane Smith off. I need to go take Jane off my birthday calendar, or
No.
do you address that?
I would leave him on there. If I had a Jane Smith on my calendar, she would still get a birthday card, even if she's not on my top 50. She just wouldn't get a gift. I mean, I have birthday cards are like 5 cents, and a stamp. The stamp's probably the most expensive part of a birthday card.
Okay.
So even if I'm not necessarily in good relationship, or now if I don't like them, like if we had a bad deal and they told me to F off, I would go, when the birthday comes up that next week, I would just not send the birthday card. I might delete it off my Outlook calendar, but I'm not going to go through and delete everybody that I take off of my top 50. It's just going to keep adding and adding and adding. And I mean, if I shared my calendar right now, I should be able to do this. I don't know how to share screen. Well, just kidding. I don't know how to share it on this. Oh, here we go. Share. share number 2. So do you see all these people? I got birthday. These are past clients, people on my VIP list. So if you guys didn't know, Chris Ringrose's birthday was yesterday, so you should have called her.
It's
Can
it's
you
not
guys?
showing. It's
Oh
not
shoot,
showing
I
the.
haven't clicked share yet. I gotta click share. Okay, you see these names here? These are birthdays. Everyone's birthday that was yesterday. I don't have any birthdays today. On Saturday, I have a loan anniversary for a couple clients. On Monday, I had a loan anniversary and a birthday. And if you look at my next week, it's full of birthdays and you know. So yeah, I guess maybe if that got too big, that would be annoying, but I don't, that to me, that's manageable. Now I don't know how to unshare. I knew that was going to happen. Oh, here we go. Stop share. So yeah, that's what I do. I would just keep them on there, Lindsay. And if you don't like them and you don't want to send them a card, don't send them a card. But then you'll just be alerted. Maybe in 3 years, what I've learned in this business is sometimes you do like people, then you don't like them, then you like them again. So, and maybe in 3 years, you'll remember it's their birthday and you've been like, oh yeah, I saw them at that event and they were really nice to me and you want to send them a birthday card. So I wouldn't remove them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 3 minutes left. Vinny asked me a question. You've been on here the whole time.
Question. So no, well, first and foremost, it's this is a good refresher of something that I needed. The gifting part, I've gotten away from that. Um, so question in terms of real estate agents, how do you really just keep in front of them consistently without you falling off into the get busy stuff, get back into the loans and everything like that? Because I think that that's what's actually happened to me, and that's what I'm in the process of doing right now, is I'm back in, like, to your point, back to whining and dining them, I guess. You know, I had a really, really strong network of realtors, and I guess I got too busy in the daily minutia. Um, and so now I got to get back to whining and dining.
Do you see this right here? Where I'm
Yep.
pointing at? Power Hour, top 40 on Monday.
Yep.
Do you see Power Hour Tuesday updates?
Yep.
Do you see Wing Wednesday, my Wednesdays? See the hour and a half lunch I have planned every single day?
Mm-hmm.
These are non-negotiables. For me, the way I do it, and I think it's the best way to do it, you live and die by your calendar. And no loan is going to go through or not go through based off of you making an hour's worth of phone calls per day or meeting a realtor for lunch. And so I call realtors every single day. If you look at my greatness tracker, which I probably didn't, oh, this is last week, so this is a good example. Do you see how many these are all realtors and clients that I've called, and I wrote them all down. Okay. You set time aside and you stick to your calendar. And my rule with my team is a power hour can move, but it can't be deleted. If I have a client that can only meet on 10 a.m. at Mondays, put them on 10 a.m. on Mondays. But that power hour, I better have an hour to make calls in the afternoon. If you book me so full that I can't make my power hour, me, and Avelia, my LP1, are going to have words. And like I said, I don't expect that everybody on here is going to call 40 realtors every week. But if you call 25 throughout the week, every single week, you'll stay in relationship with them. If you have lunch on their birthday and every time you do a deal with them, you're calling them on Tuesdays and you're asking for an appointment and you're having lunch with them or coffee or happy hour, you're inviting them to your lunch and learns because you're hosting your lunch and learns in person. You're not just sending out invites to join online, but you're actually either hosting it at your office or renting a space and hosting at the space. That's how you stay in front of them. And I took the whole hour. I said I was only going to take 45 minutes. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to me, Gillispie team at summitfunding.net. You can Teams me also.